Yes, I'm here to fight for truth and justice in the American way.
You're going to end up fighting every elected official in this country.
Sure you don't really mean that, Lois?
I don't believe.
What on earth is going on with this here podcast? What?
What is going on?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Who knows what they're doing? Why are we here? The existential questions that keep us up at night. Silver doesn't care. She lives for the now.
Yes, that's me.
That's what kaiju are all about, remember?
That's all
It's
that
destroy
kaiju are all
Tokyo
about.
today.
You know what I realized that we've been forgetting?
For intro.
She's here.
Oh, it's Silver, everybody.
I like how I can't see it playing
Yeah,
until it
well.
finally comes through on YouTube. Thanks, Windows.
Well, Windows had an update and Streamlabs had an update, and everything's all wanky, and I don't know why.
They suck.
Yeah, I can't get it to work with the virtual video. How's it going, Silver?
Oh, great.
You celebrating
So great.
America?
Yes, celebrating America by camping and lighting things on
Blowing
fire.
stuff up.
Oh, yeah. That's the American way.
One of my favorite lines from The Simpsons is where Apu was like, "Celebrate the birth of your nation by blowing up a small part of it."
Yeah, my dog definitely is not a fan.
Does he freak out because of fireworks?
So we've actually found her hiding behind this one bush in the corner of our yard the past 2 nights. She goes in there and she just crouches down behind the bush and is like, she won't even look at you. Like when you come over there and you're like, "Hey, it's okay. Let's come out from behind the bush." And she's just like, if I can't see you, you can't see me. It's really funny. Poor dog, but it's really her posture. It's so funny.
Yeah.
I never knew this whole time that you had a dog. You've never brought it up.
There's a clear love for this dog because of all the amount of times he's talked about it.
I actually have brought it up. I even texted everybody a video of her playing in the snow, like
Excuse me?
right after we got her.
Yep.
I don't remember this.
My cats don't care about fireworks there.
Our biggest cat, Chonker Boy, Smokey, yeah, he's the most scared of fireworks.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
And he's a thick boy.
Yes, yes.
Smokey is my favorite one. I like the big boy.
Big unit of a cat.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the, oh Lord, he's coming sort of cat.
Yes, he is.
And it's not just fat. Like, I've seen fat cats, and he is a thick cat.
He is. Like, I've said before, but we've taken him to vets, and they never say he's overweight. They just say, he's just a really big cat.
Yeah. Just a solid body. If you ever pick him up, it's all just like solid meat. It's not like flab or anything. He's just a thick boy.
My favorite thing.
That's hilarious.
I think a veterinarian assistant, I think he once said. We had like brought him out of his crate to get him weighed at the vet, and then suddenly we have a crowd of like everyone in the veterinarian's office just kind of gathered around looking at him, and I just hear one guy whisper, "Look at that mass."
He's a big boy.
Yes, he is. But he's also just so lovey.
Well, we are here the day after the birth of a special nation. Where at least I know I'm free. Incidentally, me and Silver, sometimes when we play Elden Ring, fall into patriotic singing, and apparently when we beat bosses, we chant USA.
Oh yeah, we defeated the Fell Omen that way.
It's America versus the Elden Ring.
Oh my gosh, a dog! Hold on, I need to watch this.
Is Jason sending dog videos?
It's a dog!
It is a dog. A special day in this nation, and if you're not American, then it's not so special for you. But it's okay.
It's so funny when they asked that question, like which countries have the 4th of July, and it's like, well, all of them have the 4th of July. It's just a date on the calendar. But everybody is like, they don't celebrate the 4th of July. Why not? I was like, well, obviously, why not? They're not Americans. They don't celebrate the same things we do.
I don't know if I've ever met anybody confused that foreign countries don't celebrate the 4th of July. I've seen foreigners confused that we don't like the same things that they do. It's like, what, you don't watch soccer? And it's like, no.
No.
We don't.
I do watch more soccer than I ever have in the past because I've lived outside of the country. I did pick up I don't know what's the word. But I do like watching soccer on television now. It's not like I follow it fanatically, but when the World Cup comes on, or if I'm like, I was at a restaurant recently and they had sports going on the TVs, and most times sports bore me. But one of the TVs did have a soccer match, so I scooted around to that side so I could watch the game while I was eating.
The only sport I semi-follow is professional sumo.
Which
that sounds funny, but I do. I had a I had a favorite wrestler, and he has retired, so I don't know what to do with myself.
Oh no!
And then I had another.
Did he have a protege?
Wrestler. No, Tochinoshin was Georgian. He was just giant white guy. And he was really interesting, but it's like they start to age to a certain point, and it's not even that they're old, it's just like their knees have retained so much wear that it's just horrific. And their ability to maintain their enormous weight and continue to have bouts just it doesn't go anymore. And Tochinoshin had to retire. I mean, the Michael Jordan of the sport retired. Enho, I really liked Enho. He was fun, but then he got pushed down the Basho ranking, so he's not around anymore. It's like, ugh. I don't have a guy. I don't have a guy anymore. I just passively watch. The only reason why I can maintain my focus with sumo is the bouts are like 30 seconds long.
They're really short. Yeah.
So I can watch it a whole day's worth of bouts and like a 20-minute video, and like I'm done. So it's
And
fine.
that's probably the highlights reel, isn't it?
Yeah, well, but they cut like all of the intro and like the little
Right.
stompy prep stuff and whatnot, and it just cuts right to them shoving each other, and then it goes to the next
It,
shoving match, and you're like, oh, that's great.
it's really interesting how much. I mean, it's a martial art. They have, they train, and it's not just about being big guys. There are moves, and
Well,
and
that's the
these guys are
advantage.
for as large as they are. Some of these guys are super quick.
Yeah,
You wouldn't think that they were, but on the other me by the other token, there's a lot of ceremony that goes into each of those bouts.
well, the ceremony is like 20 minutes, and the bout's like 30 seconds.
Right.
There's tossing salt, and there's stomping, and then there's doing gestures of tossing salt, and it's this whole thing. Regardless, it's America's special day. It was yesterday. Happy
Yeah.
birthday, America. You cast off the British yoke of tyranny. And now we're free to split our cultures and be very rednecky and drive trucks. And the British continue with their stupid tea, their horrible garbage water.
Their
You know,
dirty
it's
water.
um do you think that we did that because we're like, we can't be like the British, we have to go exactly the opposite direction from them? Or is that just a byproduct of casting off the British yoke?
I don't know. I would like to believe that the war for independence was mostly because tea is disgusting garbage water. It's just gross. Chance is asking where Ross is. He is supposed to be here. I talked to him like an hour ago. I don't know where he is. So we'll find out if he drunkenly comes stumbling in late to join us in our nonsense. Yeah. I celebrate the holiday eating a burger and a shake, um, watching TV, and listening to the neighbors blow up fireworks right next to my window. Tea is not life, you heathen. Tea is life. Enjoy your stupid warm water, you stupid garbage water. Tea is disgusting.
Yeah, um, I've never had tea. I've had plenty of herbal tea, and it's all disgusting.
Yes. It's horrific. Communists drink tea. Did you know? Hot fact: communists drink tea. Despite
Little known fact.
little known fact, I'm going to delay our Xbox conversation because Ross isn't here and he did most of the work on that. What I am going to do is talk about a little film called Elio. Now, I don't know if you guys are super aware, but this movie called Elio came out from Pixar. Are you
I
aware
heard
of
it's
this
Oh
film?
great.
yeah, I seem to recall something about that.
Apparently, the worst performing Pixar movie of all time.
Yep.
Well, we learned some interesting things this week that some of you might not be aware when it comes to Elio. As it turns out, Elio was heavily edited and cut down because it wasn't going too super well. Let's read a little bit. I'm going to put a border on this one. Let's read a little bit of Hollywood Reporter talking about the catastrophic path that Elio has gone through. Director change, erasure of queer themes. Those who worked at Pixar while its latest film release, Elio, was in production were delighted by footage they saw roughly 2 years ago. Among the moments cited as favorites by those at the animation studio at the time included a sequence with the titular boy collecting trash on the beach, turned it into a homemade apparel that included a pink tank top. The movie's team would refer to Elio showing this off to a hermit crab as his trashin' show. If you bought a ticket to Elio and don't remember this, it's not just that you chose the wrong time to refill your soda, according to multiple insiders who spoke to Hollywood Reporter. Elio was initially portrayed as a queer-coded character, reflecting original director Adrian Molina's identity as an openly gay filmmaker. Other sources say that Molina did not intend the film to be a coming-out story, as the character is 11. But either way, this characterization gradually faded away throughout the production process as Elio became more masculine, following feedback from leadership. As the story goes, they showed it to a test audience in Southern California. And though they had some positive feedback, they asked the test audience, by a show of hands, who would go see this movie in the theater, and no one raised their hands.
And that's in Southern California?
Yes.
Holy cow.
Adrian then showed it to Pixar executives, and they hated the movie, which resulted in him being apparently very personally upset and hurt by the conversations he had with the executives, and resulted in him leaving the production, no longer being the head of the movie, the director and stuff, and the movie getting chopped to all hell, removing a lot of the queer-coded content as well as a bunch of other things. The word was from a bunch of people on the inside is that they basically cut out the heart of the show, which tells me that if the heart of your show is an ideological message, then your show isn't good. It's just an ideological message.
Yeah.
In a not too shocking turn of events, the really bad movie was originally a very, very gay movie.
And not just a very gay movie, but apparently a steaming pile of garbage.
Yes.
At the same time.
So bad audiences didn't like it.
Yeah, if you have a test audience and you say, "Hey, test audience, would you go see this in theaters?" and 0 of your test audience says yes, that's a garbage movie. And it needed to be re-edited and reworked. Yeah, we got a garbage movie, but it sounds like we would have gotten a steaming pile of garbage, and this was only just a pile of garbage.
Yeah, well, apparently it was heavily gay, and they cut out the gay, and it just was bad after that. Apparently the character was all about fashion and environmentalism, which got cut out of it.
Gosh.
And I was like, the way I saw the trailers gave me the impression that the character was obsessed with space, and that's why he was abducted, and that the aliens thought he was like president of Earth or something. But apparently he wasn't obsessed with space, he was obsessed with fashion.
Environmentalism? Okay.
I'm going to read Hint's comment, and I have a funny thought. I cannot wrap my head around how these big companies can keep losing big on virtue signaling garbage and still green light even more. It's because they don't understand it. They don't get... See, a lot of them live in a very activist internal world where their daily lives revolve around their activism, and that they were taught that you need to reflect your activism in everything you do. And so when a lot of these people who are activated in colleges get into businesses, middle management and creative endeavors and whatnot, they become very vocal because they think, well, this is what I'm supposed to do, is go out into the world and then push my agenda. That agenda gets pushed into stuff. And regardless of whether or not the movie's going to do well or they're going to make any money, the most important part is to push your agenda and your politics. That's more important than anything else. And the studio doesn't, and they're convinced by these younger people that this is the trend that young audiences are going into. When in reality, all they're really hearing is a very small percentage of people that are very vocal. Not a general audience reception, a very small vocal minority of people who are telling Hollywood executives the ideology is important, people really care about this stuff, that yada yada yada, and then they make these movies and then they do poorly. And I think that's why this movie was chopped up, because the Pixar execs were like, no, because no one likes it.
Yeah.
No one likes it. And all they are is burning your money. That's all they're doing. These activists, all they're doing is burning their money. And look, as a non-political podcast, I can hear people who are activists listening to me talk about this and be like, well, you just don't like gay people. That's not remotely what I'm saying. What I'm saying is making your movie, your show, whatever it is, strictly about the politics, whether it's identity politics or LGBTQ stuff, even if that caters to your personal interests, that is not a general audience grabber. You can make a very gay Pixar movie that will be destroyed at the box office because, believe it or not, the homosexual community is a small fraction of the audience. And people don't like being preached to. I know this sounds shocking to you because your life revolves around preaching to other people about your identity and about your interests and whatnot. But it's not about whether or not whether or not you should be spreading your message and ideology. The important part is making money. And audiences do not want to hear it anymore. They're sick of being talked down to. They're sick of being preached to. And this is why these films are being destroyed. I'm not saying you can't have queer movies. What I am saying is those movies won't make money, let alone if you spend $200 million on it. There's no way that movie's going to make any money. There's no way that movie's going to make any money. Chance has a comment.
Nope.
Movie companies keep making movies for a demographic that represent 2% of the population are surprised than the other 98%, the people who buy the tickets don't show. You're absolutely right. Jason, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say on top of that, we have companies like BlackRock that are throwing their weight around and saying, you will do this. And then watching these subsidiary companies go out of business. I really don't understand BlackRock at all. BlackRock should be in the business to make money, and all I can see them doing is tearing every company down that they work with.
BlackRock doesn't care about the money; they care about the message,
which is surprising to me. It's like eventually BlackRock, you're going to run out of money.
No, they won't. BlackRock is one of the large. I think BlackRock. There's 2 or 3 other ones. They're so big that losing $1 billion is a kick in the bucket to the trillions they potentially have. Like BlackRock is so massive that it's almost irrelevant, that they would rather lose money and push their politics. They don't care. They're like Disney can't afford loss after loss after loss. BlackRock can. They do not give a shit. They will hemorrhage money and force other companies to go out of business simply to push their political agenda because they feel it's their responsibility to do so. And so keep losing money. I don't care, but it's not going to collapse their company. And Disney's not going to go out of business.
Well, it's not going to collapse today.
Disney is not going to go out of business. They're going to lose lots of money, and they're going to fire people. But they're never going to. They're too big a company. BlackRock is way bigger than Disney. There's no way. BlackRock. It reminds me of Apple and their streaming service. Apple's a massive company of absurd degrees.
Yeah, it is.
They lose $1 billion a year on Apple TV. $1 billion a year. They do not care. It's more important with the status of having prestige television that win awards, it's more important to put yourself out there. It's like the advertising for your company and what you're doing is more important than the loss in revenue to them. Yeah, I mean, this is and their intention is to shove it down our throats with this movie. Their intention is to indoctrinate your children because this is geared towards children. And they didn't care if it lost money, but the problem is Disney can't afford to just lose money constantly every single day. They just can't.
Nope.
This is going to go on way too long, and Disney can't afford to keep doing that. Eventually stuff is going to have to shift. People are going to have to be like, I mean, Disney's on its 5th series of layoffs now this year.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, they don't go out of business; they just fire you. They start cutting down, and then get rid of people because that's what they do. And I'm always baffled when everybody's like, why would Disney start late? They don't care about you. They don't care about you. They don't care about your politics. They don't care about you personally. Disney is a multi-billion-dollar corporation. They feel nothing for you. So when you're like, "Oh, I love Disney," what you feel, the love is the artistic content that is produced over decades and decades of Disney's existence, of the warm and fuzzies over what Disney used to be. Um, the giant corporate conglomerate does not deserve those feelings anymore. Like they just no. Chet has a comment. I struggle to see it underneath the sea. And then not only don't they learn, but they decide the route to go is to lambast average Joe as a homophobe, racist, etc. You're absolutely right. That is essentially the strategy. They attack you for not liking it. Well, you're supposed to like it. And it's like, why? I owe you nothing.
Yeah, that's something that we've harped on so often on this channel is that these entertainment companies, they need to win our loyalty every single time. It's not like they put something out and we owe them something. They're an entertainment company. Their business is to entertain the consumer. So every single time they release something, it should be entertaining to the consumer. It shouldn't be because I have entertained you one time. Now everything that I put out, regardless of quality, you must love. That's not how this works.
These companies don't deserve your loyalty. They don't.
Now,
Shifting
do we want these
on,
companies to do good, to do well? Sure. Because if they're doing well, that means they're entertaining us.
and
It's when
this,
they start doing poorly, like this,
well,
they need to learn a lesson.
this is a relationship you should have with every corporation. Loyalty should mean nothing. They have to re-earn your money every time. And if they make a good product and they've earned your money, then maybe you get interested in their next one. But the next one, they have to reconvince you again that it's not going to suck,
Yep.
and that next product's going to be good. And then maybe you give your money. Like loyalty for large faceless corporations should mean nothing. No loyalty.
Yeah,
And Disney's been proving it over and over again that they don't deserve our money because they produce just utter garbage on a constant basis. They're not the company that they used to be. And most companies aren't.
nope.
They have big, influx of new people and employees shift in and out. And Bungie of yesterday is not the Bungie of today. And Ubisoft of the yesterday is not Ubisoft of today. And you might like games that a company has made, but they're not going to be the same company years down the road. And sometimes they shift their internal politics and they become more activists because they feel it's their responsibility to spread their politics. And good, if that's what you feel, you need to spread your politics. You do that. You do that, bro. Doesn't mean I have to give you my money or go along with you on that ride. That being said, we do have the Xbox drama, which I was hoping Ross would stumble in on, but we're going to move forward. Hey, everybody, did you know drama's happening at Xbox? No?
I've heard some stuff. Didn't
Going
they
well.
lay off like 9,000 plus people?
Microsoft's largest layoff in years hits Xbox sales and other divisions. Microsoft says it is laying off about 9,000 workers. Its second mass layoff in months, and its largest in more than 2 years. The tech giant began sending out layoff notices Wednesday that hit the company's Xbox video game division and other divisions. Among those losing their jobs are 830 workers tied to Microsoft's headquarters in Redmond, Washington, according to a notice sent to state officials Wednesday. Freaking Audi ad. Microsoft said the cuts will affect multiple teams around the world, including its sales division, part of organizational changes needed to succeed in a dynamic workplace. The company won't say the total number of layoffs, except that it's about 4%. A memo to gaming division employees Wednesday from Xbox CEO Phil Spencer said the cuts would position the video game division for enduring success and allow us to focus on strategic. Yeah, this is corporate speak to make it sound like we're going to do well and everything's fine. Well, with the recent drama and shifts at Xbox, I mean, the Xbox hadn't been doing well as a console. Look, I actually really love my Xbox. I think it's a great console. I love the save state feature. I play it more than any other console, and I have a PS5. Does that mean that it's doing well? Because I like it? No. PlayStation did better this year, and PlayStation sold more. Regardless, one of the biggest problems that's happened this generation, which I would say for both PlayStation and Xbox, is their exclusives have been just terrible. And you might ask yourself, well, exclusives, I mean, they had exclusives like, okay, yeah, Starfield sucked. Starfield is not a good game. And that was supposed to be their big killer app that justified purchase of the console. Starfield was. What they needed to do was get another, I don't know, Fallout. They needed another Skyrim or something. They needed a GTA, but that didn't materialize. Whereas PlayStation does have some exclusives. I would say their exclusives were kind of ass, but they did have exclusives.
Yeah, I would say that this year the exclusives have been pretty lackluster.
Yeah,
in general.
Spider-Man 2 is not good. It's not a good game. And that was one of their big exclusives, Spider-Man 2. What, God of War? God of War sold really well. People liked it. I'm not a fan of the new God of War. I wasn't going to buy it, so that didn't help me. Final Fantasy, kind of, with PlayStation, though Final Fantasy's coming to Xbox. So, whatever.
Well, I mean, a lot of times the exclusivity is only for a short time. The thing is that you're going to make more money if your game is on all consoles than if it's only on one. But yeah.
Well, it's a double-edged sword. Game companies want their game to sell really well and be accessible across multiple platforms. Platforms want those games to be exclusive to justify purchase of their console. So it's they both want different things. And it's funny, I used to read on forums people being like, well, the future is we'll just get all games will be multi-platform. And I was like, no, they won't. And everybody hated me for responding to that guy. It's like, no, they're not going to be multi-platform. Because they're like, oh, it's like, I get it. Look, I get it. It's great for consumers if everything's multi-platform. But you know what ends up happening? All of the platforms die and only one survives. They can't be multi-platform.
Yeah.
Literally, you have to have exclusivity in order to justify the console. Otherwise, it's just buy one hump of plastic over another hump of plastic. Like, it's irrelevant which one you purchase if you could buy every game on every console. I mean, I know it's fun to think of it in terms of what it benefits you, but I know you step back and think, well, how does this benefit that company? Because it's not good for the company to have everything multi-platform. Why would they care? You were going to interject there, Jason?
No, I don't think so. Maybe.
Chant says, yep, Xbox laying out people like Jim Jones. It's true. There's been a hemorrhaging of bodies at Xbox. And things have been going really poorly. And so as we shift forward to the news that Ross has put together. Oh, I added this later, but Ross has got it earlier. Apparently, according to Xbox executive, laid off workers should use AI to manage their emotions, which is hilarious. On how to cope with the with the sadness of being laid off. Talk to Chat GPT. Does Microsoft have an AI?
Yeah, they do. Oh, there you are, Ross.
Oh, look, it's Ross.
I've arrived.
I was wondering where you were there, bucko.
Well, things happen.
I don't want to hear it. We were talking about the second article that you added that we're supposed to use AI to cope with our feelings after being laid off.
You know, and they say Microsoft bosses are the worst people on the earth, and I don't think that's true. I think they care.
They do care.
Yeah.
Closely, intimately. They care how you feel.
Yeah, they don't want you to be sad.
But don't set up like psychiatrists or pay a little bit of money to help talk to people about the problems. But
No.
be like, go talk to the computer about how you feel.
Yeah, I mean, Microsoft isn't one of the largest multi-trillion-dollar companies, are they?
Chance says that Ross was taking a hot shit. That's very possible. I don't try and pry, Chance, into Ross's personal
I mean, it's a
stuff.
distinct possibility, but I'll never tell.
Oh. Laying some dumpage, seeing a man about a horse.
Drop the kids off at the pool.
Drop kids out of the pool for a half hour. You know, I made up a $1 million question. It was like $1 million, but you can only spend 30 seconds pooping at any one time. So you got to rush it.
That's one of the worser ones you've done. Not the worst. I think peanut butter hands might be the worst one.
Peanut butter hands.
I love.
I'm just saying you got to take care of your business. So, and that includes wiping and washing your hands.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Gosh.
That right there is the problem.
You could set up a situation where you're sitting on the toilet with the sink in front of you where you're like, it's all just one go.
Oh my god! I mean, you would have to.
Poop in the shower.
Today pulling double duties.
Yeah. So Roz, why do you take over our layoff at Microsoft?
Oh yes. So yeah, this guy. I mean, I don't know how far along you were in that one article, but what a jackass! I mean, he deleted that post, of course, which is not surprising.
How insensitive.
Yeah, it's just insane. But I think, obviously we were more of a gaming podcast, and so the third article I have kind of more lists the effects of these layoffs as near as we can tell at this point in time. It starts off with the typical information, but about midway through it starts actually talking about specific studios. So Raven Software was hit by cuts. We don't know specifics, but the Forza developer Turn 10 lost nearly 50% of their staff. Rare canceled that game Everwild, which apparently they'd been working on for 10 years.
Good lord.
Yeah.
In 2019 they said that. So I mean that was just cut and bait on something that was too far gone.
Did we see a trailer for that at the E3 stuff?
I think so. But yeah, they couldn't find a right direction for the project even after it was rebooted. So that's a bad sign. An MMO that ZeniMax was working on, who make Elder Scrolls Online, was canceled. They've been working on that since 2018.
Wasn't Phil Spencer obsessed with that game?
I think so. I think I remember seeing that somewhere.
Yeah, there was some word that Phil Spencer was obsessed with some ZeniMax game and couldn't stop playing it, and that game's been canceled.
Gonzo. Yeah. And then, sad for me, the Initiative, Microsoft's one newer studio, and then is closed. I mean, just shuttered. And they were making that Perfect Dark reboot.
Yeah, so no Perfect Dark remake. Interesting.
Yeah, which I'm actually sad about. Apparently, the game was in rough shape, so that's a good sign too.
Oh, there you go. New studios
High Moon
stumble in their ability to.
Oh, yeah. It's been, and apparently High Moon, who is another one of the Call of Duty salt mines, has gotten cuts. Same with Sledgehammer. Blizzard, now the interesting one, because they were their own thing prior to Microsoft buying them. Announced that Warcraft Rumble will not be supported in its current form. Will not continue in its current form.
Isn't that the mobile game?
I think so. I hate what they've done to Warcraft since WoW, but anyway. But yeah, there will be no new content added. Some Blizzard employees will shift to different roles, while others will be let go. An exact figure has not been confirmed, but some are saying about 100 people. Halo Studios, the shambling corpse of 343 Industries, has apparently been affected by the layoffs, although I haven't seen any specifics.
What that outcome is going to look like.
Well, yeah, and will it matter? Probably not. Whatever they were making was going to be crap anyway. Not to be a downer, but and then Romero Games, which apparently John Romero had a studio.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was announced that an unspecified publisher has canceled their funding for a new game, and it's believed to be Microsoft. So.
Oh, things are going well.
Yeah.
Over in Microsoft.
Things are going poorly. Things ain't good. So. Let me see. I'll get to the next article here. I thought it was a good article just since it actually laid out the game studios affected.
What's actually happening?
Yeah. Because some of the bigger news, when you're talking about Microsoft, Xbox is a small part of that pie, and things like Microsoft leaving Pakistan entirely. I think they left like a crew of 5 people as support to like close things up, and that's it. Microsoft is quoting, they're laying out that there's financial and political insecurity in Pakistan, and $3 billion, ironically, are being spent in India.
Oh, interesting.
So, major win for India, sir. And ironically, all these layoffs, 9,000 people, Microsoft seeks 6,000 skilled migrant visas. So,
wow.
Yeah, get dunked on nerds. And I guess last but not least, this reports that despite Microsoft doing all these layoffs, they're spending $80 billion on AI. Some are figuring that these layoffs aren't even necessarily because of issues, just trying to cut costs so they can offset the AI development costs.
Doesn't surprise me.
So, yeah, and one of the things that I thought was interesting amidst this whole debacle with Microsoft and Xbox is Phil Spencer had a line about removing layers of management to keep, and then like talking about keeping Xbox like nimble or agile, maybe is the word he used. But I thought that was really interesting. It makes me wonder because Rhett, you and I have on this podcast, we've all talked about how Microsoft went on a buying spree. Yeah. Similar to Disney in the 2010s. And it makes me wonder if they're trying to streamline. No, it did not. And it's not paying off for Xbox at this point, really. So I wonder if they're trying to streamline and sort of cut down on the fat, trim the fat where they can. The fact that he mentioned specifically management is where they're trimming is really, really interesting to me. It makes me wonder if they've been having problems with communication going up the ladder. But
this also is interesting in the wake of all of the Xbox news of their new strategy of shifting to sort of a multi-platform, multi-service sort of company, which makes me think that they're looking down the road, and even though we might get another Xbox console, they're looking down the road of we diversify into a bunch of different platforms in order for Xbox to survive.
Yeah.
And with the layoffs, you're like,
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. The reality is, look, Game Pass is great and everything, but to really keep it going, they're going to have to get new games that people want to play on it. And that means they're like under Microsoft management, Xbox management. They're going to have to make them. So eventually, that they're going to have to get there, and I think they can and will, but it's just a matter of what it's going to be because it sure shit weren't Starfield.
No,
So
Starfield was supposed to be the game, the big
yeah,
killer game
and it was
that was gonna it was gonna be their new Skyrim. It was gonna be their big Fallout game. It was. I mean, they need a GTA. They need something like that. But Starfield did not do what everybody hoped it would do. Yet another stumble and failure of these giant companies who get too big for their britches and don't think to themselves, oh, we need to make a game that's fun and enjoyable and replayable as opposed to dull and boring and spacey.
yeah.
You know what I got out of that game?
And it was so boring.
Making my spaceship. That's what I got out of that game.
Yeah, which is something, but not enough for that. I mean, good lord.
Not enough to justify an Xbox as opposed to Spider-Man 2 and
yeah,
freaking God of War and Final Fantasy or whatever. I mean, at least
yeah.
The I would say the exclusives for PlayStation have been lackluster, but at least they had some.
Right, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I think were this any other generation, Sony would have been caught lacking, except for the fact that Microsoft is in a worse position. They have none. So, if that was what Sony had to come to market with in 2006 with PS3, they would have been in deep trouble. But, I mean, that would mean if Microsoft still had all their great exclusives, which they don't. So, I think Xbox is just further along the downward slide than Sony, but I think Xbox is also clinging on to the one branch or vine that is sticking out, and that's Game Pass. And to be fair, it seems to be a strong one at this point, but we'll see.
So it's funny. I looked up Xbox Series X exclusives because I know people are being, no, they had exclusives, and it's like, yeah, but they kind of suck. So here, I'm going to go down the list. See, Forza 5.
Yep.
Flight Simulator.
Ooh.
Avowed.
That's going to drive people to get an Xbox.
Avowed is ass, by the way.
Yeah.
Halo Infinite.
Oh, I know. I love. Oh no, I didn't.
And Ross could actually speak from experience. He's played it.
Yeah, finally, 5 years later, he can tell how itching and raring I was to play the latest 343 product.
Hellblade 2 came out with a wet fart. I did not perform.
Yeah, I don't even think it was bad. It's just nobody cared.
Yeah, Stalker 2 wasn't even bad. It just nobody cared.
Yeah.
The new Fable game we haven't seen, everybody thinks it looks like trash.
And I've heard it's canceled. Like that was the first rumor I heard about this set of layoffs, but I haven't seen that reported actually. So maybe not. They'll cancel Perfect Dark, but not the ugly Fable.
Yeah, Perfect Dark is on this list of Xbox Series X exclusives. So is Everwild, which is also not coming.
Hey, Brett, do you notice a problem that I see with this list of quote unquote exclusives?
Uh-huh.
They're all PC available too.
Oh, Gears 5?
And not just on Game Pass.
Gears 5.
Yeah, oh man. Wow, what a game it was.
Assassin's Creed Mirage and then Shadows. Indiana Jones is probably the only one on this list that's actually any good.
Yeah, I mean, and it's on PlayStation now. It was a timed exclusive for 6 months?
Yeah,
Jesus.
And look, I love Game Pass. I was able to play Indiana Jones. I beat it, got all the achievements. I didn't buy the game. I just played it on Game Pass, and then I was fine. I didn't give them any money besides Game Pass. So I mean, I like the day one exclusives, but how sustainable is that as a business model?
Yeah, one wonders.
Their Game Pass, I would argue, is way better than PlayStation Plus. You get day one exclusives. PlayStation Plus does not give you those. And
no.
Despite that, Game Pass is not being the banger that everybody thought in comparison to PlayStation. Chance says Microsoft should trim Bill Gates' depopulation budget. Bill Gates is one of the biggest landowners in America.
Yeah.
He's been buying up land.
What a guy.
It's a little concerning.
Just slightly.
So I have a
just
question
relatively.
for you.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit earlier about how, you know, on the one hand, the market wants the games to be console independent. For the consumer, that's the best thing. Because, hey, I might not have, I don't have infinite resources. I can't buy every single console that comes out. I have to pick one.
Nor do you
And
have
so for
infinite
me,
time to play every game.
right. And so for me, the best thing is if the game is not exclusive to any one console, and by that same token, it is best for the video game manufacturers as well, because if they are trying to reach as wide an audience as possible, which is only going to bolster their sales, they want to be console independent as well. However, the consoles want those exclusives because that drives sales for their console. Now, we talked about Rhett mentioned talking to some guy, and he was saying in the future all games will be released on all consoles, and Rhett was like, "No, that's not going to happen."
No.
What I'm wondering is, how do you see consoles forcing exclusives in the future?
Well, the exclusives have been forced by the fact that these consoles like Microsoft and stuff own large development
Yes,
studios.
I own
Yeah,
the
like
development studios.
Bethesda.
Yes,
Like Microsoft owns Bethesda. That's how they force an exclusive because, Elder Scrolls 6 is theirs. They own it.
Yeah, they just bought it. Yeah.
That's how they do it. They just buy these companies. And they
yeah,
have first party production like Nintendo makes Mario games. They own those
yeah. They make their
exclusives
own.
and they don't let them go out because they have their own development studios and they make their own games. And you might go, "Oh, well, eventually you'll play Nintendo on X." You will not play Nintendo on Xbox. You're not going to.
Probably not.
That's how you
Well, the only
justify
way that
buying the Switch too, so you can play Mario and you can play Mario Kart.
the only way that could happen is if what happened to Sega happens to Nintendo.
Sega becomes a publisher.
Yeah. I mean, they used to have their own consoles, but when the Dreamcast came out, that was their last console. It really basically tanked their console line. They had to give that up.
It was too
And
easy to
because of
pirate.
that, they became uh, instead of a console manufacturer, a video game publisher. So the only reason that we have Sonic on different consoles now is because of the fact that Sega no longer produces their own consoles. If Microsoft or if Nintendo have to sideline uh, their console business, then I could see us having Mario on different platforms. But
Nintendo,
until and if that happens,
no.
it's going to
Here's
be
the problem.
exclusives to their own console.
Nintendo as a company is the most fuddy-duddy backwards company you've ever seen. They have
Yeah,
drug their feet through doing online in a way that people can play in a considered way. Like the online gaming for the Wii was so ass backwards because they didn't get multiplayer online. They just didn't get it. There's these old Japanese guys who just didn't understand. So when they finally did it for Switch, it's like, oh, great. But then like they didn't have in-game chat and it was still kind of assy. And it just they are the
well,
most backward, slowest to evolve company, but also like ahead of the curve when it comes to innovation. They will be
yeah.
we will have all dead consoles and Nintendo still trying to drag their feet through existing as a hardware. They will be the last company to go publisher.
Yeah, I mean, it was a huge deal
I think,
when Pokemon went mobile. I mean,
Yeah.
that was a huge
yeah,
thing.
when Nintendo released its hooks on that, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, Nintendo owns 30% of Pokemon, something like that.
Yeah.
By the way, other exclusives, South of Midnight.
Oh, what a huge one it
Never
was.
heard of it.
Southern Black Girl does Southern magic, Southern purple
I
magic.
think she talks to an alligator.
Yeah. I remember that being really hyped up. See, I looked up Xbox Series X exclusives, and it just gives me some Xbox exclusives because I was like, oh, Quantum Break, that was on the Xbox One.
Yeah.
Master Chief Collection, Xbox One. Stalker 2. I mean, there you go, if you're a big Stalker boy. Sunset Overdrive, that was the last console. Yeah, they're telling me about games that are exclusive in the last console. Not this one. Oh, look, Halo Infinite. Oh, there you go. Gears 5. Yeah, Gears 5 is not great.
Not so good.
Yeah, Starfield, Fable, no. Avowed sucked. Avowed, if anything, was one of the biggest disappointments of this last generation.
Very true.
Elder Scrolls 6 should be out just in time for my retirement. You're probably not wrong. That's the funny thing when you look at like these plans for like Marvel's movies coming out in the future or this next installment of a game, you start to think about it and you're like I'm going to be a lot older by the time we're going to see some of these releases 8 years down the line. Like, what is this going to look like by the time I see these Marvel movies you're announcing? Yes, Infinite was trash, Chance. Thanks for weighing in on that. We all know
very
Infinite was
bad.
trash.
It's no good.
I like the gameplay. The story was neat.
The gameplay would have been better because the only memorable parts of that game are the very beginning and the end run, and that's it. Because everything else is just open world trash.
Just
once they actually had to design a level,
to do.
Yeah, once they actually had to design a level, it was actually memorable and maybe interesting. So.
Oh, there you go. Hey, I think it's going really well. Silver, you dead? Have you died on this?
Oh yeah.
Oh. You mining for gold there, champ?
He is speaking to us from the beyond.
Looking for
I'm
emeralds?
A goat of Xbox past. I weep.
I'll weep for Xbox. Oh boy. Yeah, things suck on the Xbox route. Guess what we also have? Lots of things to talk about.
The Distracted Gamer Podcast. Pile of news dump.
That's right, everybody. We're behind the porcelain desk once again for the news dump.
Yay.
This, if you can remember, the news dump is a place where we go through news reasonably quickly unless we forget that that's the principle that we're supposed to be doing. So I'm going to start out this news dump, this special news dump, talk about Ironheart. Now, we alluded and talked about Ironheart last time, and I sort of gave a quote unquote, hey, everybody, I watched it. I'm going to clarify, having watched Ironheart, I was doing other stuff.
You weren't focusing intently on it?
No, while it was playing. Now you might go, oh, you're being unfair. Hey, I'm not giving you a review. I'm just telling you sort of impressions. Now, Ross, does this give you a good idea that the show's doing well? With the fact that in 1 week's time, they have pushed out all of the episodes.
That's usually a sign of not trusting it, as we saw with or not believing in it, as we saw with Fallout.
Yeah.
They were not confident in Fallout. Amazon pronouns, pal.
They shoved out all of Ironheart in a week.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean,
it was originally supposed to be 10 episodes, and they cut it to 6.
Oh,
and I guarantee you they only split it up to try and avoid the obvious, like, oh, they just dumped it and walked away. Because I don't think they really ever do that with Marvel shows, do they?
No. Well, there was a lot behind the scenes, if the word is to be told. There was a lot of lack of confidence in Ironheart. If you remember, they've been sitting on the show for like 3 years.
I think it was 2, but yeah, they've had it for 2 years, and they're releasing it now. That does not scream confidence.
Well, let's see. Iron Heart filming. Say filming of Ironheart was complete in 2022.
Yeah, so you're right. It's been 3 years.
Regardless of this, going back to talking about the show, we're not going to sit here and have an extensive conversation about Ironheart. It's not a good show. Now, there's a few things I would like to touch on really quickly with the aftermath of this show. As it seems to be, the show based upon a comic that was canceled.
Yeah. Didn't even get its full run, if I remember right.
And a character that doesn't have its own original thought, it just steals the idea from Tony Stark. We made a character so, I'm going to say this cynically, and believe it or not, the character was made solely because they wanted diverse Iron Man. I mean, that's why this character exists. The Marvel Comics believed that she would replace Iron Man, and at the time when she existed, Iron Man was dead. There was actually arguments from people online saying that actually she worked closely in the comics with Iron Man to develop her suit. No, she worked closely with an Iron Man AI because he was dead.
Oh.
Yep. and not only that, but all
she worked with him.
All the tech that she quote unquote worked on was actually Iron Man's tech, and basically she just made it fit her.
Yeah.
It wasn't like she was innovating or creating her own. She stole an Iron Man suit and made it fit her. So it wasn't even like she was inspired. I mean, Kamala Khan is a better superhero than Riri Williams or whatever her name is, because at least Kamala was a fangirl and became a superhero because she got her own powers and wanted to follow in the footsteps of those she idolized. Riri Williams stole the tech, modified it to fit her, and took up Iron Man's mantle, not because it was given to her, but because she took it.
Well, and to clarify, none of this is relevant when it comes to talk about the show. I'm just clarifying that the character sucked already from the get-go.
Yeah,
right.
Already unpopular.
Right. So now when they make it into a TV show, she was given a free ride to MIT under like the Tony Stark scholarship or something like that. She squanders it to the point where even her professors are, you've been dragging your feet and not finishing your degree and all this other sorts of stuff. Decides to leave and literally has a line in the show. That the only reason why Tony Stark was able to do what he did was because he had money. When he built his suit in a cave in Afghanistan.
Yeah, of course.
So that's completely untrue. Like factually untrue. And this belies sort of the politics of the show. The only reason why Tony Stark could do what he did is because he's a rich man. He's a rich white man. And I could do what I could do. As long as I have some money. And if I could get some money, then I could be iconic too. Because she's obsessed with being iconic. And it's funny because in the show, she says stuff like, oh, I want to make these suits for first responders and firemen. But then later it's like, why are you making it? And she's like, well, because I can and I want to be iconic. So there's like mixed signals as to why she wants to do it. At one point she says, I want to work for a large corporation so that I can steal from them because they won't notice.
Yeah.
No, literally, that's what she says. I want to work for a large corporation because they won't notice when I start when I take things out of the back door. And at no point is
Yep.
there a question of this is immoral. This is a bad attitude to have. You're kind of a piece of shit. It's just natural that it's fine because it's a big corporation and whatever because they're wealthy and like it's fine. Like there's no internal struggle of I'm doing bad things. And at one point, the most emotional and tragic moment that she has is she's upset when she figures out that people might find out what she's been doing because she's a criminal. She's committing crimes
Yeah.
and fraud, like serious crimes, and should go to prison for long periods of time. And she only gets emotional when she thinks that people might find out. That's the only time. There's no guilt. There's no remorse at what she's done. She only gets upset when people might find out. And the guy, Han Solo in the show, he goes to prison because she leaves some of his tech at a crime scene and she feels nothing, to the point where Han Solo character is so miffed and indifferent that he blames for everything that happened to him. And then she goes to this
As he should.
She goes to this kind of boyfriend and she's like, am I a bad person? And he goes, bad and good are meaningless.
Oh yeah. No, you're definitely a bad person.
No, she is a bad
Because-
person. This is an origin story
Yeah.
for a villain. But I mean, that's just
Yes.
She's a bad guy. Her friend dies, and she's magically able to make her friend into an AI by uploading her friend from her brain. And think about this: she's stealing
Which
money
makes no sense.
by using technology that she could sell for billions of dollars.
Yeah.
She makes a personal shield that you can. I don't remember. It was like a wristwatch or something that she gives to her mom and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you know how much money you could get from selling that? No, she wants to use her technology to steal from large corporations. And instead of patenting the technology and making huge amounts of money, she's just going to use it to steal from people. It's like Iron Man making some of the most advanced technology ever and then robbing a 7-Eleven. It makes no sense. No sense. Like the dream big thing is she dreams as big as robbing her local convenience store. In a advanced piece of technology. Not sell it, not patent it to help other people, but to rob. And she is a bad person. And the AI that she uploads into the suit to help her manage things and whatnot. So despite the fact that she could put it on a hard drive and save it or anything, she doesn't. And she's given the option to she needs a new power for the suit, and so she uses magic or some shit. Like, the show's really stupid.
Yeah.
So she uses magic to supply the suit, and she's given the option that if she uses magic to supply the suit with power, then it erases the AI because they both can't exist at the same time. So she uses it. She uses the magic, and then at the end she makes a deal with Mephisto, like a deal with Satan for her soul. And she's like, I just want my AI friend who died back. And instead he brings back her AI friend as a physical person, like she comes back to life. Which makes me think, wow, you didn't really want your friend back. You just wanted your AI back. Is that what you wanted? Well, the show's really bad. She is genuinely a bad person. She steals and robs and injures people, commits assault. She's not a good moral human being, and she makes a deal with Satan at the end of the show. She is a piece of shit. Like unquestionably, she's a villain of the piece. And there's no point that she reflect on the morality of the stuff that she's doing. It's all considered fine because she's stealing from wealthy people or big corporations. As long as she gets to be iconic, that's fine. And that's my summation of Ironheart. It's a
So
horrific
basically, she's an icon of evil.
Yeah, she's a bad person. She's literally a villain.
And
that
people
get you
thought
hyped
that this
to-
would do well for some reason.
Yeah, well, that's why they shoved it out really quickly. Y'all interested in seeing
Well-
Ironheart now?
Oh, I'm
Wasn't
booting
ever-
up Disney Plus right now.
So I'm going to bring this up. I don't know a deep amount of it, but I'm aware of the huge amount of press it's been getting and the controversy. All right. So I'm going to give you my biggest summation as to what's going on. Stop Killing Games is this thing that a YouTuber, I believe, put together because he wanted
Ross.
to push against the fact that companies basically you buy games and then they get killed. Like they get destroyed and they go away and you no longer have access to these games. And he's been doing it through
Okay.
a European Citizens Initiative where he's got about 1 million signatures. A lot of it was sparked from what was that Ubisoft car racing game?
The Crew.
The Crew, that's right. Mainly because Ubisoft took the Crew off of Steam, but also removed it from your game list. So now you can't even play it anymore, even though you purchased it.
Okay.
What's that, Jason?
I was going to say I'm definitely against that kind of BS, but the thing is that old games stop working on the new systems and stuff, and it's not like these companies are going to spend a lot of time making these new games compatible with
That's not what they're
current
asking for.
tech.
That's not what they're asking for. All they're not even asking for them to maintain servers. All they're asking for is to be allowed to have access to the game because you bought it. So if they want to make their own servers and be able to play the Crew, then they want to be able to do that because they paid for the game. Or if they want to be able to download the game and then not be harassed because they took off servers or they dropped access for things. And this especially accounts for digital games people purchase. They're exclusively digital. And what if they're now no longer selling it and you purchased it? And it's like, I should still be able to use my game.
Yeah, if I bought it already.
Right. And that's essentially the argument from this company, from this movement. So it on its face, I'm a fan of what they're trying to do. There's been this weird cross controversy with some other streamers like Pirate, whatever his name is.
Oh, Pirate Software.
Yeah, where
Thor.
He thinks it's dumb. That people don't like have a right to this stuff because you don't buy the game, you buy a license. Like I'm not really speaking for his opinion, but he's on the other side of this thing.
Yeah, well, a couple things. He used to work for Blizzard. His dad works for Blizzard, or used to.
By the
and
way,
he is currently making
that fat nerd, the notorious fat nerd that played WoW. That's actually his dad.
Oh, in South Park, yes.
Yes, that it was modeled after his dad.
And Pirate Software, Thor, is currently making a single-player game with online elements that would be affected by this sort of legislation.
Well, that's the thing, though. If eventually he sunsets the online elements, people should have the right to make their own servers and keep it going. And he just doesn't want people to be able to do that, I guess.
Yeah. Real quick, there is an aspect of I don't think he fully understood it and then doubled down because he's renowned for doing that lately. Anyway.
Oh, there you go. At the very least, not even when it comes to online games, I'm actually more with, as we're getting more and more with digital exclusives, if I buy a game, I should still be able to get it somewhere. You can't just cut off my access. And it's one thing to be like, well, it's a online game or whatever. I mean, that's one aspect with the servers and whatnot, but the other aspect is like, even if it's just a single player game, I should still be able to buy it or get it if I paid you money.
Yes.
Well, it's part. I mean, we always come back to the fact that the current model is that you're not actually buying the game, you're buying the software license. But the thing is if I haven't violated the terms of the software license, then that should mean that the other side doesn't get to violate those terms either. And you've guaranteed me access to that software. So you know, it, yeah, I totally fall on the side of, if I bought this, even if it's just a license to use it, then I
And I
should be
have the
able to
license
use
to
it
use it.
still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But the only important news: Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the original film, will be released in theaters for its 35th anniversary. Woo.
Really awesome.
Oh,
I remember seeing that in the theaters. That was awesome.
Yeah, so I'm kind of hyped. This is the only important news this week. We should end the podcast now. But I'm a TMNT boy. I'm super hyped for that. I may want to see it in the theater.
Turtles.
There's a fun article to come out where apparently people are saying that AI will wipe out half of jobs. First of all, half of white collar jobs.
yes.
And that there's a big concern that the AIs could destroy everything. I know we've had a big AI discussion before, but I was just to bring that up that apparently CEOs are starting to say that a bunch of jobs might start going away. Y'all hyped for white collar jobs disappearing?
So,
I mean, it won't be the best white collar jobs, if you catch my drift. They'll find a way to stick around and be important.
Hey, if the Supreme
Quote,
Court
unquote.
can use AI to write their dissent, everybody's in danger. So a bit of news I'm quite giggled about, Ross. I don't know if you're aware. Neil Druckmann has announced he will not return for season 3 of The Last of Us.
Oh my
Yes.
god! Oh no!
I saw that.
Oh no!
I wonder if it's because he realized that
really
he fucked it
bad.
up, and
Yeah.
that they're going to look for a scapegoat, and he'd rather not be there.
And he's gonna bail. Yep. I guarantee you that's why.
I wonder. I wonder if that's why.
To read some quotes, I made the difficult decision to step away from my creative involvement with The Last of Us on HBO. With work completed on season 2 before any meaningful work begins on season 3, now that the show's been destroyed and season 3 is going to suck, he can claim that he wasn't a part of season 3. Now is the right time for me to transition my complete focus to Naughty Dog and its future projects. Naturally, the folks over at The Last of Us HBO series aren't too happy to hear the creative director and writer of the first 2 games will no longer be involved in the project. So everybody expressing their opinion that the 3rd season is going to suck because Neil Druckmann's not going to be there. And it's going to be, what I'm going to predict right now, the 3rd season is going to really suck, and people are going to say it's because Neil Druckmann wasn't a part of it. And I'm going to tell you, season 2 and season 3 sucks because Neil Druckmann was involved. Because he's just a massive piece of shit. He is
we already know.
Just before you get into that, season 2 was received extremely poorly, and he is bailing before it sets in that the story he wrote is just utter trash. And so by the time you get to season 3, he cannot be there while it burns down and be like, "Well, I got out. I don't know what you want. I got out." Jason,
what I was going to say is that we already kind of know the trajectory of the season 3 just because of the games, and nobody liked part 2 of The Last of Us.
No,
and it was
terrible.
His story. Yeah. So I'm with you on laying the blame squarely on Neil Druckmann's shoulders. He came out with a great part 1. Everybody loved it. It was I think if everybody could have given it the game of the year, they would have.
I think
there was
did.
so much. Yeah, there was so much love for The Last of Us.
Well,
and then part 2
most
comes
of the
out.
fault is not Neil Druckmann on that one. It was the original writer.
Wait, on the original one, he wasn't on the story, right?
No,
it was somebody else.
He was a participant writer on it, but the main writer was the same lady that wrote the Uncharted games.
Yeah.
which were
Yeah.
which were really fun and bangers and a lot of fun adventure stuff. And she was fired before we got season 2, the second game.
That's right.
Neil Druckmann is solely to blame for the DLC of the first game, which is utter garbage. The DLC sucks, and the second game, he's the only one responsible. The one that's responsible for how good the story was with The Last of Us Part One was the lady that wrote. I apologize because I can never remember her name. That wrote Uncharted and whatnot. Yeah, she left or
That's
was
right.
fired,
Yes.
depending on who you ask.
Probably her story is the correct one, whatever that is.
Well,
But yeah, I was just going to say, we got an amazing video game in The Last of Us Part 1, and his involvement was probably minimal at best. And then when he took over, he tanked it.
Yeah.
And what are people, expecting from The Last of Us season 3? We already know that anything he turns his hand to goes
it's
down the
taking
crapper.
the same trajectory that the second game did.
Yeah.
Where you have a beloved character in Joel that everybody loved in the first show because the first season did really well because it followed the story of the first game, which is really good. And Joel dies. I know spoilers for you kids out there. And then suddenly everybody's really pissed off and they're unhappy with the show / game. And they think it sucks because now it revolves completely around Ellie, who isn't great, especially in the show. And Neil Druckmann's plan, because he thought he was so brilliant, is he was going to write a character who kills Joel, and then by the end of the game, you're supposed to love the character and relate to her. And he set up a scenario at the end of the game where you were supposed to be given a choice to either, where as Ellie, you either kill her, you don't kill Ellie, you kill the other one. I can't remember what Jack.
I believe it's Abby.
Abby, where you kill Abby, or you set her free. And because you played Abby for half the game, you're supposed to be sympathetic. To his dismay, practically all of the playtesters chose to kill Abby, so he took away your choice. You're no longer allowed to kill Abby anymore. And that was the game we got. Nobody relates to Abby. No one likes her character. And the third season is all Abby all the time. That's what it's going to be. No one's surprised that Neil Druckmann is jumping from a ship that already had leaky holes that he built. So that he can claim, well, I left before season 3.
Wasn't my fault.
Everybody already hated season 2. And now that season 3 is going to suck balls.
You don't understand. It was purely because he wants to work on the Heretic Prophet.
The bald lesbian space witch?
Yeah, it's his latest, greatest thing. That's all. That's all it is.
All right. Anyway.
So they haven't done anything with season 3 yet, right?
He left before any pre-production.
So there is a possibility that they could decide, we don't like the way the show is going. Let's fix this. And they come out with a better story. No, they're not going to. No, they're not going to, because none of them are creatively adept enough to actually take a clue from season 2 and the fact that nobody liked it to then change anything. They're going to do what Hollywood has done since the beginning of this fiasco, and they're going to double down and blame the fans. I'm just saying that because he's no longer involved, a chance exists. Yeah. There's a parallel universe out there where somebody was bold enough to decide, you know what, this sucks. Let's
It's polishing a turd. It's polishing an already busted story. The story's already bad. You can't make a bad story good because you'd have to change the story. Like, literally, you'd have to make it completely different where Jesus resurrects Joel and he murders Abby or something. Like, that's the only way it succeeds in any meaningful capacity. We got to move on. So apparently the Paramount merger has postponed South Park's new season, and Matt and
Oh.
Trey are not happy about it.
Oh dear, that's a problem.
Yeah, they're not happy how things are going. Shifting on, and another massive bit of news that might have been the main part of our discussion, but is relegated to the backbone. Kotaku has been sold.
I saw that.
Oh no! Oh!
Oh no, Kotaku.
Oh my
Kotaku,
God!
which was just a steaming pile of horse trash.
The first time they've made money in God knows how long.
Yeah, they stopped hemorrhaging and being just a overt political shill company with an agenda. They started just being generic gaming news and advertising for sales on Amazon. So, an unfortunate turn of events. Kotaku has been sold. Was a good is a good thing. What's her name left and became a waitress.
Oh, Mercanti, yes.
Yeah, who used to be the
How long do you
editor.
anticipate that Kotaku will still be around before we get news that they're shutting down?
6 months.
Yeah.
They'll give it a try, and then it will not work. In a positive turn of events, Superman star David Cornsweet avoided saying the character stands for the American way, and instead said truth, justice, and good things.
Oh my God. Well, that tells me that came from on high then, because I know this has been a thing that's been talked about in various comic circles.
Well, it hasn't been his theme since 2021.
Yeah.
So yeah. Good sign
It's
for
definitely
the
come down
future
on
of James Gunn's Superman.
I love Superman's James Gunn. I'm so excited for this film.
Okay, stepping into the take this as a rumor and not hard and fact. There is a rumor that they're going to reboot Indiana Jones, and fans want Pedro Pascal.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Oh my God, fans are retarded. Fans of what? Fans of Pedro Pascal, not Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, if Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, and Harrison Ford are not involved, it's not Indiana Jones. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
As I recall, Steven Spielberg was it that said that he would never allow Indiana Jones to be anyone
all
but
I'm
Harrison
telling
Ford?
you is this is a rumor. Maybe people are hoping that they will. Maybe Kathleen Kennedy will be like, "We're rebooting Indiana Jones," and then walk out of the company.
And how much control does Spielberg have anymore? I mean,
Precisely.
George sold that baby down the river.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind an Indiana Jones reboot. But
you really think they're going to produce anything worth a darn if they reboot it?
No, they're not. That's the thing.
It's like I would be like, oh well, I wouldn't care if they rebooted it with a massive amount of qualifiers. It's made by competent people who aren't, don't have massive brain damage,
aren't activists,
who don't have activist mentality and have the capacity to write a decent. It's like all of these massive qualifiers of if this was made in a different time with different people and not current day, where they ruin every single solitary established IP. No one trusts current day to remake an Indiana Jones. Nobody. They don't have the capacity to reboot shit.
Oh God.
It's like, oh, I wish.
No, they'll do a good job.
They could reboot it. You really trust anyone that could reboot this thing? Anybody?
That's the thing. I wouldn't mind a reboot, but it's like you said, there are so many qualifiers. It's like I wouldn't mind a reboot, but none of you currently in Hollywood could do it.
Right. It's like we'd have to go back 50 years and then resurrect dead people to produce a film.
Yeah.
Hey, Steven Spielberg, in the director's chair, give him complete control over the film and the story.
Spielberg can't direct anymore. Everything he produced sucks balls, Jason. Spielberg isn't even. We're going to have to get Spielberg from 40 years ago.
That's probably true.
Another massive rumor, take it for what it is. Obi-Wan season 2 may return.
Oh.
Despite season
Oh.
1 being considered one of the worst things produced by Disney Star Wars in ever.
Until the Acolyte came out.
Yeah.
Are they spending $60 and a pack of bubblegum on it? Is that what they've decided to budget it at? Because that's the only way it makes sense.
It's like, is he going to fight Darth Vader again to also destroy the I haven't seen you since I was but a learner, now I am the master? And it's like, actually, we fought like 2-3 times since then.
You know, people try to argue that because I would have disagreed with this statement, but when it comes to Disney Star Wars, you can't, and that is Star Wars is Han, Luke, and Leia, and people argue against that. But if it wasn't about, if it wasn't Han, Luke, and Leia and everything they did, then why can they never get away from it?
They can't.
That's very true. Yeah.
So take it for what it is. The one show that has destroyed canon and damaged characters beyond repair may return. Hopefully we see another slapstick episode where Flea chases Leia through a forest. Or how about when they had the comedic Obi-Wan hiding Leia under his cloak like a Three Stooges scenario? Or how about Obi-Wan running from Darth Vader catching up to him only to say, "Did you come here to kill me?" And I was like, he's running from you. What do you mean, did you come here to kill me? He ran away. That show sucks.
God.
It's so bad. It's really bad, everybody. Obi-Wan sucks. And a good sign, which whenever we always hear this, it's always a good sign. Marvel reportedly told Daredevil Born Again editors to avoid watching the original.
Oh my God! Why?
Remember hearing
I mean,
about
look. You know what? I get having an editor team that you have. Hey, they didn't watch it, and I don't want them to. I want to see what they make. But why wouldn't you want another team to make it that knows what's going on?
Recapture the magic.
Yeah. What is with? Why does this keep coming up in these stupid reimaginings?
The good stuff that happened before. Yeah.
They don't want. They hate the original source material. They don't want to put it in there. They want to rewrite it and make it into their own new woke whatever. That's why they do.
Yeah.
Here's some interesting bit of news. Apparently, the USB-C ports of a Nintendo Switch 2 include some encryption chips and methods that restrict which accessories can be used on the system. According to reports from some accessory makers, while some third-party accessories still work as intended on the Switch 2, third-party docks for Nintendo Switch's Nintendo's new console may become scarce. So apparently Nintendo's placed restriction on the Switch 2's USB-C port, and a bunch of third-party stuff does not work with it anymore.
Oh my God! I love that Nintendo has taken this full swerve into just being the biggest dickheads.
They're a very old-fashioned backwards company. They don't want people using their stuff.
Yeah, like I don't know. On one hand, like, because we've always known they were assholes with their IP defense. They were really strict.
Yeah.
But goddamn, I mean, this is next level.
Hey everybody, the BBC is warning that they have facing unprecedented issues after a $1 billion loss in income. Look forward to the probably everybody believes is canceled at this point, Doctor Who, not coming back.
Anyway.
Well, Daddy Iger cut off the wallet, so...
Yeah, everybody forgets Disney was actually paying partially for Doctor Who. And it's performed so badly, Disney has no intention of giving them more money. Let's also forget that the U.S. government was funding the BBC. They were the third largest contributor of funds to the BBC. And the U.S. government...
Holy cow, what were we as the United States people? Why were we paying the BBC?
It was coming through the USAID program that they
Oh my
completely
gosh.
collapsed. We were giving them, I can't remember how much money, millions and millions of dollars, hundreds of millions. I can't
Yeah.
remember. But yes, the U.S. government through USAID was funding the BBC.
So
Third
stupid.
largest contributor of funds to the BBC. Why? Because we have to have our fingers in everything. That's why. America.
And yet, in order for us to, we're paying, as the United States government is the third largest contributor to the BBC, and the BBC was still making people in the United States pay to have access to their shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They make you pay. I mean, for just having a TV. What are you talking about?
And in fact,
Whether you watch BBC or not.
the BBC are considering a tax on foreign viewers of their news program.
Fuck.
They've also, if
Good
you
luck with
remember,
that,
they
BBC.
considered a tax on Netflix per subscriber to help fund the BBC if you were subscribing to Netflix in Britain. Apparently,
not that there's anything worth
USAID's,
watching there anymore, but sail the high seas. Anyway.
USAID's funding was something like 8% of the BBC's. I'm looking at a fact check, and they're like, wrong. USAID's contributions only amounted to 5.5%.
Still too much.
Yeah.
I was
USAID
good
should have
fact
been-
check. It did happen, but it wasn't as much as you're claiming it was.
Our contribution should have been zero.
Yeah, it's their stupid news organization. Let them fund it. In our final story, apparently most big studios are skipping Comic-Con. And the speculation is that because fandom has become so toxic, that they're staying away from fans, which were the champions and the biggest like screamers and enthusiastic people when it came to Comic-Con. But now that you've ruined all of your major franchises, they will boo when you show up at Comic-Con.
No, dear.
So yes,
once
apparently
again,
they're just avoiding the angry fans ruining their favorite stuff.
once again, it's our fault that their stuff is trash.
Yeah. Because you're supposed to like it anyway. You're just consume product and get ready for next product.
So stupid.
That's the line, Jason. The famous Red Letter Media line. Just consume
Yeah.
product and get ready for next product. You're not supposed to say you don't like it. You're not supposed to be angry about what they're doing. Just consume product, Jason.
Well, until the government comes out and says that they've repealed the First Amendment, your stuff is garbage, and I'm not buying it.
Nah, brain chips. Come on.
Okay, until they install the brain chips.
Consume product, everybody. It's a special podcast. Something. Oh, there it is. Things are going well. Man, there's a lot of bad news across the internet this week.
Hell, things are going great. What do you mean?
things are
Nothing
going
bad
well.
happening.
Kotaku going bad. Microsoft hemorrhaging employees.
Mm-hmm.
Things not looking good for Superman, which we will be watching. Everybody.
Oh. I'm going to watch it post-extraction with a bone graft. I'm going to be high as shit, boy.
Oh, yeah, you're doing the, is it the dental thing?
Yeah, my root canal finally gave way and has an infection underneath it, so it's coming out,
That sucks.
and I'm getting a bone graft. And I'm going to get a gold tooth. I'm going to ask for a gold tooth.
Yeah.
Go for it.
See, you say
Yeah.
that as a joke, but I think you're being serious.
No, I am dead serious. I'm going to ask for a gold tooth.
This is going to look classy
Yeah.
when it comes to hanging out with your girlfriend's family.
Oh, whatever. I mean, she's fine with
Is
it.
it?
If it was a front tooth, she would be really
I was
against
gonna
it.
say, it's
But
probably a back tooth.
yeah, it's a molar, so it's fine. It would just be a
Yeah.
cute little glimpse and gleam of metal when I have a nice smile on my face. It'd be classy,
What?
you know.
It would
You get like a
be
Coquettish.
big
classy,
grin and you
huh?
have that sparkle.
Yeah.
So I had an English teacher in college who got a gold cap put on one of his teeth. He didn't just go for the plain gold cap. No, this was special. He had a peace symbol. No, it was the yin yang stamped on the side of it.
Oh,
Oh
my
my
God.
god.
Ross, you gonna
Never
go?
seen that.
You gonna go yuppie like that too?
No, that's silly.
Want to bling out your tooth?
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Ross. All right, so we're arguing about something stupid. What are we arguing about? Jason. Jason,
You
get
have
your act
the.
together.
I'm here. I was waiting for the stuff to show up on the.
It is very delayed.
There it goes. Yeah.
There it is.
So we have a giant squid armed with a cattle prod, and the giant squid is made of guacamole,
Ugh.
and it is fighting against Hannibal, who is riding on a war elephant,
Who has no
and
flaws?
Hannibal has consumed an inordinate amount of
Well, 5 energy drinks. Yeah.
energy
Are they Red
drinks.
Bull or Monster? But he seems like a Monster guy.
Yeah. Yeah, monsters. Yeah.
A lot of
Yes,
wife beaters.
drink
A lot
5
of wife
energy
beaters
drinks.
drink Monster.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's factual.
It is fact. I drink Monster. I don't, but I wish I did. That's a lifestyle I want to maintain.
Let's drive for
Yeah.
today.
Get yourself a wife beater. Get yourself the wife to punch. But it's illegal. Look, it's immoral and illegal, which is why you get an android wife. Because
Yep, perfectly legal.
They're built for taking a wallop on her too.
Yeah, that's true. That's what they're built for.
Reinforced cheeks. What, Ross?
No, do you want them reinforced? Won't that hurt you?
Well, it's cushioned, but reinforced so it doesn't collapse her skull, and I have to buy a new head.
Oh, structural reinforcement.
Yes.
I see. Uh-huh.
Got that honeycomb going on.
Yeah.
Are we going to have the stupid argument, Jason, or are we going to talk about me versus Android?
Yes.
We should have that as the last one. Brett versus.
Okay, according to
Android.
ChatGPT, Hannibal screams, "I am the storm," while charging across a battlefield.
Okay.
Let's see. According to this, the squid is powerful, sticky, and gross, but Hannibal's tactical brilliance, indestructible war elephant, and caffeinated fury are overwhelming. Cattle prod is dangerous, but short range and ineffective once things get chaotic. The elephant is too big to be stopped by guac. And Hannibal is a berserker tactician with nothing to lose. So
no one said he
the
had
verdict
nothing to
is that
lose.
Hannibal wins.
But yeah, that was a nonsensical ChatGPT comment. The cattle prod might be effective against the war elephant, but it might just more enrage it. I still don't see a scenario where a giant squid mega guacamole beats Hannibal on a war elephant. Enraged and empowered by his wife-beating monster drink.
Yeah, that guacamole squid just getting squished.
Well, so what if he gets squished? Can he not, reform into squid form?
So it's just sentient guacamole who shapes itself into a squid? Is that what we're saying?
Well,
Yep,
I mean, clearly.
pretty much.
I mean, squids are not made of guacamole. And,
So it has no, like, getting squished will not end its life. It'll just, it's like the T-1000.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
you would eventually smash it into enough of a paste that it couldn't reconstitute itself. if you were thorough enough.
Based upon
And
what
your war
evidence?
elephant. Well, the war elephant, I assume, would charge through it and splatter it across the landscape.
Well,
And then
wait,
just keep
where is the
chomping it
squid's
down.
brain? How does it think?
That's
How does it understand how to use tools? Does it have a
well,
brain?
that is a good question.
Well, is its brain spread out throughout
It
the
has to have
guac?
some sort of sentience.
That or it's like guacamole brain.
Ooh.
Well, if it's spread throughout its structure, you could assume that if it gets splattered around enough, it in the act of losing cohesion, its intelligence goes down.
That's a dangerous assumption. We don't know how the physiology of guac squid functions. I mean, is
Very
this
true.
picture an artist's interpretation, or are we supposed to believe it has eyeballs?
This is an AI rendering.
Well, I'm aware of that, but is this considered to be a realistic representation of the squid? That it does have eyeballs, or is just an artist's interpretation, and that conceptually the squid has guac eyes?
It would have guac eyes because it's made out of guacamole.
Okay, well, this is an unrealistic image of guac squid.
Hey, I did the best I could with the AI at my AI tools at my disposal.
Is he vulnerable to tacos?
Yes, they're his main weakness.
He is the dip. Can he reconstitute in
I
my
am the
stomach?
dip.
I would say no, because the
It did
digestive
from the inside.
acids would would further break him down.
Well, yeah, it's going to take time. He doesn't immediately
True.
disappear. When I puke after eating too much guac, there's still guac.
Yes, but the acid would inhibit the reconstitution.
Really?
It would work against it. Yes.
You're filling in holes here, Jason. all we know is he's a squid made of guac. We have no information other than that. We don't know how he thinks, how he functions, what his physiology is. For all we know, he's the T-1000 is unstoppable.
Well, the T-1000 was stopped by, throwing him into basically lava.
Right. So does Hannibal of not cannibal fame have access to a iron smelter or lava of sorts to completely destroy the dangerous guac giant squid?
The elephant might eat it. I mean, it is vegetable matter.
Yeah, but he has
What if it's a picky elephant?
Yeah, what if it's a picky elephant?
What if the elephant is scarred for life and looks at that cattle prod and is like, nope.
Yeah. and then he can just guac, like, suffocate Hannibal.
Just enveloped his face.
Yeah. Cattle prod to elephant. Elephant runs away. He suffocates Hannibal because what do? Punch guac?
Also, when he loses
You
guac
try to
from
find
him-
some tortillas, and
it's just that they're not close enough at hand.
And he's hosed. Here
Then
comes
he's
cattle
hosed.
prod guac squid.
So, when
Ross, you're so checked out of this conversation.
No. Yes. Because I truly believe the guac squid wins.
Do you?
Yes.
Based upon what?
hey, who?
He cannot die unless eaten, and I
can
don't think
you
that's. I don't think that that elephant's going to get a hold of him. I mean, the trunk. The trunk's going to pass right through him.
Yeah,
stab him with cattle prod.
it's an interesting logical argument you got going there.
Yeah, very logical. Yes.
So who votes giant squid?
Me.
We got Ross for one.
Silver?
I'm on Hannibal's side.
Disgusting.
I'm so tempted for a giant squid. I'll go giant squid.
Yeah, I'll go
Yes.
giant
So we got
squids.
2-1.
I just love
Yeah,
All
that.
right,
dies.
giant squid wins.
He's apparently unstoppable in his guac form.
Yeah.
Yes.
Moldable guac.
What's the Grim Reaper going to do with the laser sword? Hannibal dead.
Okay, that means that
The squid moves on.
that the squid moves on. Hannibal goes by the wayside, and next week we will have the Grim Reaper covered in eyes, wielding a lightsaber against a hobo made of stone who is Amish.
Great.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one right there. That was a special podcast, everybody. A lot of dramatic news. Do you have feelings about what's going on with Xbox? Are you upset about the loss of Kotaku? Do you really hope that
How could you not be?
would become a massive success, and you're just unhappy because you're really ideologically bent and you want a massively successful LGBTQ movie? Feel free to let us know, because we don't care if you want a mega gay Elio. I just don't want to watch it.
Good for you.
Good for
And
you.
Good for you and your mega gay Elio.
Mega gay. That being said, it's time that we ran away, kicking and screaming. As always, it's been a special podcast. Say goodbye, everybody.
Later.
Oh.
Bye.
If you like the show, follow Rhett, Jason, Ross, and Silver, the world's most legally stupid internet personalities, on Twitter at DGPodcast or on Instagram at DistractedGamers. If you liked or hated what you heard here today, you can email them at thedistractedgamers@gmail.com and share your feelings. Not that Jason would care, since he hasn't any, of course.
Oh my god, it's so juicy!